Is the most watched sporting event in the United States, and it is just 3 days away. The Super Bowl draws viewers to bars and watch parties across the nation, but with those festivities comes alcohol, which can lead to drunk driving. WGEM's Zeke Shapiro is here now to tell us more about this annual problem. Zeke.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's DUIs go up by 40% during Super Bowl Sunday. That's why law enforcement is on high alert. Across the country, there are a handful of days where drinking spikes: Halloween, New Year's, July 4th, and Super Bowl Sunday. Law enforcement believes days like Super Bowl Sunday are some of the most dangerous times to be on the road due to the amount of drunk drivers.
People sometimes either don't understand or don't realize how much alcohol they consumed before or during the event or the Super Bowl or parties that they're at, and then they think it's safe to drive when it's probably not.
Deputy Douglas said despite the increase in rideshare companies, DUIs continue to persist. He stressed the need to have a plan for if you get too intoxicated, whether that be a designated driver or a rideshare. Daniel?
All right, thank you, Zeke. And Douglas also explained sober drivers should also be on the lookout and alert for drunk drivers directly after the game.